from what I remember, how Jobst explained it, it was about him calling him a cheater. Yes, that's what everyone else was thinking too, but apparently not. Now, I knew and I remembered as soon as it was said last night about what Karl Jobst accused Billy Mitchell of. Heard that once before, I think. I think it was from British Runner. I believe it was from British Runner that I initially first heard that, right? But again, everyone thought that it was because he called Billy a cheater, because that's what it was perceived to be. Nope. Turns out that was 100% a lie. But again, and I did find out see the tweet, which I think I have pulled up here, that Karl is working on a response. Now, with the things that have came out so far over the last 12 or so hours, maybe a little bit longer than that, since the verdict came out, a lot of people have been giving, of course, their opinion on it because they feel that they were very duped. For those that contributed to Karl Jobst's GoFundMe and things like that, to contribute to legal costs and things of that nature, it was perceived that that's what he was using the money for. And it's a whole thing. So, yes, battle, yes, we're going to get into that. Yes. So, hold on, give me 1 second. Let me get the tweet pulled up here first. So, this is the initial tweet that came out. This is from Drama Alert. Karl Jobst forced to pay roughly 395,000 AUD and legal fees in defamation case against Billy Mitchell, right? Now, this was the initial story, that this was the verdict that came out, or Drama Alert had posted the verdict. Then Billy, nothing like the smell of victory in the evening air. Yeah. And a lot of people, and from what I saw, a lot of people were like, maybe you're a bit of a douche canoe, things like that. And then, yeah, and they weren't really very happy with Billy. And again, like I said, Billy does not have the best reputation, not just within the gaming community, but within other communities as well. He's an old head. He's been around for a very, very long time. So but his reputation, like I said, is not the best. I like Karl, but he gets what he gets being friends with Dark Viper. Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? Did they make up? Did him and Dark Viper make up? Or are they still broken up? Did Dark Viper still coping over him, or what? I don't know. I haven't kept up with anything Dark Viper in months. I truthfully couldn't tell you. Did they make up? Okay. Yeah, last I heard they did, but I didn't know if that stuck or not. So, but yeah, so Billy tweeted this out around the time of the verdict, and then Karl tweeted this out last night. Now, a lot of different things have been said and opinions have been made about this tweet. So we're going to read this tweet in full. This is Karl's tweet. There are a lot of lies being spread that I falsely claim Billy sued me because I said I never claimed this. I only claimed it was relevant as part of my defense. I didn't openly discuss certain details for obvious reasons, but I was never trying to hide why I was being sued. And he links his video here, which I have pulled up too. We're going to watch that. In this video, I fully allow Billy to explain why he was suing me. And I specifically state that I chose not to go into too much detail because it related to the ongoing lawsuit. Further, I never asked for money when Billy originally sued me. It was only after he sent me a second lawsuit and a threat of a third lawsuit, which were completely unrelated and that I needed to crowdfund. See, this is where, this is where it kind of threw me off too. But again, we're going to see the videos here. I got some of the videos pulled up here. I don't have everything, chat. I just have what I thought was relevant to, obviously what's going on now. But that's what threw me off. It's like, what do you mean a second lawsuit or a third lawsuit? He was suing you multiple different times or in multiple different cases? And that's a bit, it's not unheard of, but it's a bit crazy, especially, at least, I don't know. That's what threw me off. He continues. My total legal costs are well over 600,000. So any money I received went to my lawyer. I did not intentionally try to deceive anyone or trick anyone just to defraud them or scam them out of money. Well, other people think differently. But the criticism that I should have been more transparent is valid, and I'm sorry. Truthfully, I didn't want to repeat or mention any claims regarding Apollo Legend because it may have jeopardized my defense. Now, for those of you who remember Apollo Legend is the gamer that Dark Viper had been associated with, and he unfortunately unalived himself, and that is what this whole lawsuit was about this man right here. We first heard of Apollo Legend, or I first heard of Apollo Legend because of British Runner when he was working on his Dark Viper video. That's how I know him, right? Or of him, I should say. So, he continued. I never intentionally lied regarding Apollo Legend either. I relied on incorrect information from multiple sources. I retracted the statement once I confirmed it was inaccurate, but apparently it was not sufficient. At some point, of course, I will produce a video discussing everything, and I still believe the decision today was not the correct one. Well, a lot of people feel differently about that, especially since this tweet came out. Since this tweet has came out, a lot of people have been saying a lot of different things about this. And I agree. It looks like he is coping big time. I agree, big dude. I agree. But here's the thing so as soon as he tweeted this part out, there are a lot of lies spread that I falsely claim Billy sued me because I said he cheated. Well, chat, you're gonna see a couple of videos I have of where he states, and a lot of his videos are about Billy Mitchell cheating, right? I saw his channel. I looked at his channel today. A lot of Jobst videos are about Billy cheating and going crazy and doing all this other shit, right? So, again, it's like, okay, like, yeah, so it's a whole thing. But again, like I said, Karl is planning on making a response video at some point. Don't know when. Maybe it'll be here soon. I will hold off on any on any judgment until we see that video. Right now, this is just and what is being presented in front of us. I will wait until we of course, we will react to his response when it comes out. Hopefully we can do that soon. And we can go from there. But this stream here, chat, is just for us to just kind of do a little bit of a retrospect on what has happened and to react to what the verdict is and what we know now, right? Again, things and what people have been following, other people have been following now for a while. Hey, CAG. And what other people have been following for a while, right? So, yeah. Anyway. But for those who want just a little bit of a brief history on who Billy is, I have this video pulled up. This is from Definitely Bored Oranges, and this is the shortest video that I could find about Billy Mitchell. The longest one that I found was over 3 hours. I'm sorry, chat. I love you all, but I ain't watching a 3-hour video. It ain't happening. I'm sorry. Not tonight. So I found a 17-minute one that looked to be relatively informative, and this was published about a year ago. So we're going to watch this. Again, this isn't very long, and we're going to watch this for briefly, and you're going to get a brief, quick history on who Billy Mitchell really is. Here we go.
Copy of Pokemon Red on your Game Boy Color, and you both head over to the arcade. That's where you lay eyes on it for the first time. Donkey Kong, and also Pac-Man. It's kind of important for later, and it's different from the other games like Drum Mania or Football Power or Logic Pro Adventure. Okay, this can't be a real game. Something about Donkey Kong makes you want to beat it. Something about Donkey Kong makes you want to dedicate your entire life to it in order to perfect the score on every level, aka a perfect, unbeatable, irreplaceable score. This was a big deal for kids in 1999. Back then, the internet wasn't as big as it is now, so having your name permanently immortalized in your local arcade would have been the biggest crowning achievement. Until...
Oh yeah, 100%. And to some people, it still is. So to some people, it still is. Having your name in the arcade, even though Now, unfortunately, that kind of fad and that kind of trend has faded away slowly. But still, there are still some people out there who, enjoy that kind of thing. And hey, all power to them. But yes, I remember being a kid in the early 90s and thinking and just going to different arcades and all of that and say, and see these people like wanting to and spending hours upon hours upon hours playing a certain game, trying to get that high score and everything. And and these people were fucking dedicated. Like it's not a joke to them at all. But yeah, so.
Home consoles began dominating, people found it way more convenient to play games at home instead of in a sweaty, smelly arcade. So in hindsight, those local records meant nothing. So congratulations, Bucky. You have wasted your life and you're going to die alone. Moving on, cheating in video games has always... One second, I have a call. Hello? Cheating in video games has become a more discussed topic in the past five-ish years, or at least in the circles I'm in. From developers failing to protect their player base by having one of the easiest games to break, or huge cheating in sanctioned events where there is money on the line. And of course, the smiling green man in his Minecraft speedrun being faked. The point is, people get really mad when you cheat at games. And that's not me trying to make fun of people for doing that too. Most games do take skill, and 2 out of the 3 examples I named were pretty big deals at the time, especially
Yeah, I agree.
Dreams. However, Dream eventually admitted he faked his speed.
Oh, Dream. Oh, Dream. Oh, boy. You worked at PBS? Oh, no way. Broadcast text singing the song in all sorts of different ways to try to keep my sanity in the mornings. Nice. You Googled it? Yeah, I haven't either. I've heard, again, like I said, I've heard of it. I've just never seen it. But the reputation that it has is not good. So that's all I know. It never has, even still after all these years.
Speedrun, which is good.
My name is Walter.
However, that month or so where he didn't is what I want to focus on. Remember how frustrating that month was? Now multiply that by 360 or 30 years. Billy Mitchell. Billy Mitchell has been in a really long and stupid war of everyone who dares to call out his very obviously faked world record. This war includes attempting to sue content creators and Cartoon Network. No, that's real.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot that he was wanting to sue Cartoon Network. I remember hearing about that. Yeah, that was so dumb. That was for his cameo on Regular Show, wasn't it? The broadcast techs hated that time slot, I bet. The one case he lost. Well, you know what? Good. Good. He deserved to lose that. I'm just saying. Listen, I've seen that clip of him on Regular Show. It is funny, okay? It is fun. Now, if they did anything, now, again, I don't see Cartoon Network doing this, but if they would have done anything like derogatory or anything, super, super demeaning than to oppose on his character, then yeah, that'd be one thing, but I don't see them doing that. It was a parody.
Here is my attempt to turn this 30-year-long farce into a silly little YouTube video. Here is my take on the biggest liar in gaming history, Garrett Bobby Ferguson, or his real name, Billy Mitchell. July 16th, 1965. A tragedy happened that the world still hasn't recovered from. The birth of Billy Mitchell. Not much is... I looked at the camera, but it's not even on. Not much is known about
This guy.
his early childhood, other than that where he grew up. At first, he didn't have much of an interest in games until stumbling across Donkey Kong. When discussing this story, his wording here is something that always stood out to me a lot. Everyone was standing around the Donkey Kong machine, and I wanted that attention. Mitchell...
Yeah, I bet you did. I bet you did.
Became curious about whether there was a recorded highest score in Donkey Kong, so reached out to Twin Galaxies, who will be very important for the story later on, by the way. After being brought to a photo shoot, Billy would get a record of 874,300, which was the highest recorded score for 18 years. Get this? The dude who held the previous score lied about his record. Isn't that so weird? Fast forward to the 90s.
Accidental chat? I think not. Dude, the things that people will lie about for fucking clout, I swear. It boggles my mind. The amount of people that lie about stupid shit like that. And it's so dumb. It's so dumb. What is gonna get caught eventually? Jesus. Well, actually, no, I take that back. There are probably some people who haven't gotten caught. who got away with it, I bet, but still.
Roughly, and we're talking about Pac-Man now, by the way. And we have an 8-year-old claiming to have the high score of 6 million points in the game, which is insane. Our heavenly father, Billy Mitchell, came in and ran some calcs to prove that the highest score...
Our heavenly father, Billy Mitchell. I don't know if I knew about the lawsuit. I probably did, but yeah, true. Well, Calamity Girls, like I said, and I don't know if you were here or not, but at the beginning of the stream, like, I knew of the lawsuit. I just knew that Billy was suing Karl. That's all I really knew. And again, like I said earlier in the Discord, and I said this, and I was, going to say this tonight, a lot of people were thinking that it was because of Karl calling Billy a cheater, right? That's what everyone had thought. And tonight, chat, we're gonna find that out. We're gonna find out if that's actually true or not. We're gonna judge for ourselves here. We're gonna learn tonight, chat. We're gonna learn tonight. We're all learning together. Some of you may know more than I do, but still, we're all gonna come to it. We're all gonna learn a little something tonight, and hopefully be prepared for when Karl's response happens.
Score you could possibly get was actually 3,333,360. Multiple players would attempt to get the score, but all failed until Daddy Mitchell came in and got the perfect breakable Pac-Man score. This was such an amazing achievement that the creators of Pac-Man flew him out to Japan to a game show. Twin Galaxies even called him the Gamer of the Century, apparently. Reliable sources have told me that this is his preferred name in the bed.
Fucking hell.
To 2004, and we have Billy breaking his previous Donkey Kong record, achieving a score of 933,900. This put him in legendary status, and I'm not being sarcastic in the slightest here. There was even a movie made on this guy, for God's sakes. Another challenger to Billy's record made...
Oh, back up a minute, hold on.
Just here. There was even a...
Ah, yes. Yes, does anybody know this movie by chance? Just by looking at the screenshot? Well, Calamity Girls, there's a reason why. It's because of his reputation, right? Because he is so litigious, right? And has a reputation for being litigious. And again, as we're going to find out here soon enough, that's what Karl made it out to seem like. That's what he was being sued for. Well, we're going to find out that tonight, like I said. But anyway, no, I've seen this. Actually, chat, this movie is not that bad. I've seen this. This movie's actually pretty good. But then again, I love Adam Sandler. And Kevin Smith. Listen to me. And I love everybody in this cast. So, that's not Kevin Smith. Kevin James! Thank you. Sorry, but yeah.
A movie made on this guy, for God's sakes. Another challenger to Billy's record made themselves known after posting a videotape with a score of 1 million points. Hours later, our hero that we needed but don't deserve, Billy Mitchell, made a tape that had an even higher score of 1,047,200. Something...
Holy cow! What? And he thought... Bro. Is that even possible to do? Is that even possible to get a score like that? God damn. That's... Wow. With MAME? The hell's MAME? But yeah, that's insane.
I think that is important, as at the time, Billy was actually ducking public events as he hadn't played in half a year. Very strange. Very, very strange. The world record changes hands a lot for the next 10 years, with Billy's highest score being 1,062,800.
Oh. Thank you, King Globe. I did not know that it was an emulator. Okay.
Everything went to hell in 2017 though. Now, how can we be sure that Billy cheated?
In August 2017, Jeremy Young, a moderator of the Donkey Kong forums, expressed concern related to a video posted online by Charles of Mitchell's Boomer School. Mitchell had played both Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. that day, breaking records for both, but was using the same cabinet for it, with Charles having swapped the circuit board between the runs. The videos did not show the complete record-breaking runs, and Young believed there might have been some issues with the board swap. Mitchell and Charles affirmed that some parts of the board switching were staged.
Oh, MAME is an arcade simulator. It's what they say Billy played on instead of original hardware. Oh. See, chat, that kind of thing just blows my mind. I could not even begin to comprehend on how to do any of this. I really honestly couldn't. Wow. Crazy.
but that part of the recording was made well after the records had been set on legitimate hardware. Young continued to investigate the Boomers video as well as the King of Kong and Mortgage Broken scores, and in early 2018 posted evidence that both scores were made on MAME, an emulator rather than actual hardware. Young subsequently removed the 3 scores from the Donkey Kong Forums website for misrepresenting MAME emulation as authentic gameplay. Young's statement was backed up by Wes Copeland, a former holder of the Donkey Kong High Score. Based on analysis of the scoring rate and frequency of the game, he concluded that Mitchell's run showed a statistically unlikely rate of scoring. Further, it was determined that the verifier of the Boomers and Mortgage Broker scores was Twin Galaxies referee Todd Rogers, who had himself been banned for Twin Galaxies for submitting fraudulent scores, putting Mitchell's scores in doubt. Mitchell defended his scores on the Eastside Dave show shortly after this charge, saying, "I've never even played MAME. I don't have MAME loaded in my home." Mitchell added, "The film footage that Jeremy has, shows MAME play. I'm not disputing what he says. What I'm disputing is the fact that I want him to have the original tape." Mitchell has also suggested that the tape footage Young has may have been fabricated. Young responded, "The amount of foresight, patience, and technical knowledge required would be staggering to make such tapes." To support his case, Mitchell said he sent Twin Galaxies recordings of the gameplay from these high school efforts, along with secondary evidence to deny cheating.
Well, thanks to modern technology, we are able to see each level loads in Donkey Kong. The way the level loaded doesn't match the way it would be loaded in an original arcade.
Oh, I see. Huh. It's not that much of a difference to maybe then, but yeah, I can see the difference. Yep. Well, obviously you can see the difference here. That's obvious, but yeah.
And in fact matches how it would be loaded on a specific emulator. Now, I need to make it very clear that this is my attempt to make evidence as digestible as possible, but it
Yes, and we appreciate that, Bored Oranges. Yes, I get you. Yes, yes. I appreciate it because, again, like I said, all of this, the details that goes into all of this with how he did it, the emulation, all of that, that is beyond me, okay? That is beyond my brain power. So to have it digestible and as short and brief as possible helps me quite a bit. So thank you.
is a lot more in depth than that. Normally people wouldn't put up such a huge fight unless their dream, but this is where we enter my favorite part of the story. Regular Show depicted Billy as a floating loser obsessed with a pointless high score. Instead of taking it on the chin, he sued them. This would happen many more times with Billy suing Twin Galaxies. And now on to my favorite saga of this entire stupid story, the lawsuit saga. A YouTuber called Karl Jobst mentioned Billy Mitchell in a video on the Guinness Book of World Records.
This is where we get into Karl. Okay. Hold on, chat. Give me 1 second, please. Okay. Sorry about that, chat. I had to go talk to Mr. Huck about something real quick. But yeah, no, this is where Karl gets brought in here. Okay. Even more than what he already was. Alright, here we go.
He was also mentioned in this video and didn't like it very much. Now, viewers at home, guess what he chose to do? I'll give you a hint. Defamation, as described by the internet, is the action of damaging the good reputation of someone, slander or libel. This was a terrible crime Billy levied at Karl because he said he cheated.
See?
You know, considering how much he stressed out.
See? This is what, again, there it is right there, chat. There it is, right there. I'm beginning to believe more and more that Karl is coping. I really am. Now, let me just say this to you, chat, real quick. Okay? I have no strong feelings whatsoever towards either party. Towards Billy, towards Karl, towards any one of these two. Okay? I don't know, again, like I said, I don't know very much about them besides what has been talked about with them and with this lawsuit in general, right? And what is being talked about now with the verdict and everything else, okay? But to me, just based upon this and what we've gone over so far, there's still more. I'm starting to believe that Karl is a bit of a manipulator. Just saying. Now, I'm not saying that Billy is no fucking angel either. Billy's, from what I understand, is a piece of shit, okay? Again, that's just, like I said, going back to his reputation. That's, again, but overall, I have no strong feelings towards either one of them. So, could care less what happens. But it's just the lawsuit, this is very intriguing because of what has came out and what Karl's tweet has said. And what he said in his tweet. Apparently, I can't talk tonight. I apologize, chat. I'm sorry. $1 million would make me cope. Is that what it is in total? Is that $1,000? Is that no? That's not $1 million. What would that be U.S.? Hold on. I'm looking that up in real time, chat. Hold on. Oh, okay. So for U.S., it's 219,730. At least that's what Google says. So you make it easy to manipulate, though, when you're very litigious, especially if it's been dumb lawsuits. Exactly. See, and again, I think that's where the waters got kind of muddied. I think somebody mentioned it earlier, is because of that. So again, there's a lot of different moving components with this, chat. I know that there is, and I apologize that I may not know everything right off of the bat. But like I said, this is more of us just going over a brief synopsis as to what has happened thus far and what has came out, like I said, over the last day. So, hello, Mr. HuckUck. Oh, I know you know about this story, babe. I know you do. But yeah. Hey, chat, let's get some Mr. HuckUck emotes in chat. Mr. HuckUck is here. The modified machine? I don't know. I don't think so. They went over the difference of the emulation of the picture of what the emulation looked like. I don't know if they went over the machine part. That may have been a part of it. I'm not sure though. But if you would like to explain, you are welcome to. Well, babe, what has came out is Karl's tweet, which we went over earlier, about him saying that he never said that Billy cheated, even though it's been said that he did say that Billy cheated. And Karl lost. Big time, though. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, Chloe Girls. Is the emulator, but yeah.
Oh, Karl, I'm just gonna stamp the word allegedly right here. His terms of settlement are also really stupid. Number 1, the deletion of the YouTube publication, which was published on the 25th of July 2020. Number 2, your written undertaking never to repeat any of the allegations contained in this video about our client or anything similar. 3, an apology to our client in terms which are satisfactory.
Battle Puppet, what is confusing to you, sir? I can try to help you. Or chat can. I don't want you to be confused. A judge basically agrees Billy cheated and it didn't matter. Yeah. This is a very confusing coping session. Ah. Yes. Yes, I would have to agree. Yes. Okay. That's a good way to put it. That's a great way to put it, actually. Yes, I would have to 100% agree. Yes.
To both ourselves and our client. 4, payment of our client's costs, which we estimate to be in the order of $100. 5, payment of compensants. He wanted $150,000. So altogether, Billy wanted $1,500 from this guy because he said he had a fraudulent score in a video game from the 80s. Sure, I guess. Why would he beat the allegations? My legal team has informed me that everything past this point should be considered alleged so I don't get sued. But there is also so much evidence he had a fraudulent score, it's embarrassing he'd even try this. What makes this worse is the fact that Karl just had a child, which only further made the internet enraged with Billy's actions. To a lot of people, this is a very childish reaction to have over a few comments and over a score that really doesn't matter that much, but you didn't hear that from me. All this did was make Billy look insecure about his alleged fraudulent score, and like he wanted to silence anyone who would ever say his score wasn't legit, which by the way was basically confirmed as Billy tried to sue the original whistleblower and worst of all Twin Galaxies for removing his score. Do you think Billy sued them for A, $250K, B, $350K, C, $500K, or $10 million? It's never that serious though. The lawsuit isn't even about his scores being removed. It's all because they said his scores were fraudulent. I cannot believe this. Billy's entire case hinges on the fact that multiple—
True, Calamity Girls. I think sometimes judges want to smack people because of stupid lawsuits, and I can't blame them. I can't either. 100%. Yes. I'm sure, listen, judges, despite the fact that some people's opinions on them, which, can be varied at times, of course. Judges are people, right? I'm sure that they get all sorts of just different lawsuits that just make them want to say, why am I here? Why am I doing this? I have no doubt whatsoever. So, yeah.
people witnessed his score, which is cool. Problem with this is that the human eye might not be able to catch cheating. I mean, the entire reason Billy even got caught in the first place is due to people using technology to go frame by frame and actually pick apart the issues with his game.
In fact, to prove its claim that Mitchell cheated, Twin Galaxies at trial will have to impeach each and every witness that swore under oath that they saw Mitchell achieve the scores. To date, Twin Galaxies has shown no indication they will be able to do so. In fact, Twin Galaxies has not contacted any of the witnesses, and its motion does not attempt to discredit those witnesses' testimonies. Thus, Twin Galaxies' case essentially rests on a conspiracy nearly as broad and untenable as the Kennedy assassination. Scores of people around the country with seemingly no connection to each other agreed to lie and fabricate evidence that Mitchell achieved his records as arcade software. The cheating claim is ludicrous.
One of Billy's witnesses is a known liar. This man cannot be trusted. Billy's law team also tried to paint this as a smoking gun point against Twin Galaxies, when in reality, eyewitnesses just aren't important. The main thing people need to focus on is the gameplay.
Yeah, eyewitnesses, I'm sorry. Yeah, the background, I know, that killed me. Witnesses, okay. Yes, they can be very reliable in certain cases, yes. But in this particular case, I would imagine that it would be very difficult to be able to get, real information or true information, because you're in the middle of, if this was done in the middle of a tournament, do you know how hard that would be to pay attention to a certain degree, or to pay that much attention to? You know what I mean? It's, again, it's all circumstantial, but yeah, some eyewitness testimony probably could have helped, and I'm sure, we're gonna look at the verdict, or we're gonna listen to the verdict here. I don't know, I didn't follow the case well enough to be able to comment on it, but again, just from my perspective, if this was done in a tournament environment, kind of hard to do. So, yeah, eyewitnesses actually are not very reliable, but they still have their importance. Yeah, they can. And again, it's all depending on what the case is. It can be circumstantial. It could not be. Each case is different. So,
not the graphics, not the story. Wrong video, sorry. Not the people who have seen it, and it's funny that his high score was recorded with no witnesses, so I'm not really sure why we go past this point. I shouldn't have to continue, dude. I don't think I need to talk about the fact that his original case is entirely different from anything he has said afterwards. I could talk about how Billy has tried to sue basically everyone involved in this situation, or his embarrassing case against Cartoon Network, but I'd rather talk about how he fumbled the
yeah, that case against Cartoon Network was so fucking dumb. Seriously? Dare I say, he pulled a DSP. Except he actually sued somebody and sued a big company over it. DSP won't do shit. Speaking of DSP, I would love to hear him try to say that he's trying to sue somebody. Oh my god. Can you even imagine if that were to actually happen? Yeah, he sued Cartoon Network. Battle Puppet. He sued Cartoon Network. I will show you. Hold on a minute. Let me pull up the image. You probably have seen this. I know I've seen it. Yeah, here we go. So this was from this is from 2015. November 24th, 2015 is when this story came out. That is what he was suing over. Was Cartoon Network had him depicted, the regular show, it was the show that he was depicted in, as this. Yeah, that's what he sued him over. Now, I haven't seen that episode in God knows how long, so I don't remember all what happened in that episode, but I know that I've seen this image before. Seen this image in other situations, but I've seen this image before. So, yeah. But yeah, anyway, let us continue.
bag completely.
Your life literally is as valuable as a summer ant.
Billy's entire case revolves around the idea that multiple people saw him achieve his high score. However, a picture recently resurfaced that completely turned the case on its head. Look at this picture. Now back to me. Look at this picture. Back to me. Now, if you go outside, I'm sure this arcade machine looks completely normal. However, if you look at that joystick, that is...
Ah, yes. And this is where the joystick comes in. Now, I've heard about this. This is the infamous joystick, chat.
Not an original piece of Donkey Kong hardware, as the original arcade machine used a 4-way stick, which only allows for 4-way movement.
Yep. I remember, hold on, let me...
I wonder why it's called a 4-way stick, ooh. An 8-way stick, as shown in this picture, gives enormous advantages in the game, meaning that the original...
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me go back to the original image. Hold on. Give me a second, chat. Let me go back.
On its head. Look at this picture. Now back to me. Look at this picture. Back to me. Now, if you go outside, I'm sure this arcade machine looks completely normal. However, if you look at that joystick, that is not an original piece of Donkey Kong hardware, as the original arcade machine used a 4-way stick, which only allows for...
Now, I remember this. I remember playing Donkey Kong in different arcades that had this game and using those buttons. Oh, Battle Puppet, member for 2 months. Thank you. Thank you for renewing. MVP fucked what, by the way? Let's fucking go. What the fuck? It's acronym. Thank you, Battle. I appreciate that. Thank you. And Cool Enemy Girls for 5 months. Thank you so much. Thank you both. Thank you, thank you. And yes, Mr. Huck, it was he did use an emulator, yeah. Are you starting to recognize him now, Battle? Yeah. Okay, I gotcha. Hopefully, like I said, for those that remember somewhat of him or didn't really follow the case too much, hopefully we can all get a better understanding of this after tonight. So, but I'm going to be very interested in his response and Karl's response. So,
a 4-way movement. I wonder why it's called a 4-way stick. Ooh. An 8-way stick, as shown in this picture, gives enormous advantages in the game, meaning that the original reason for Billy's scores being removed still holds up. I can see this with my own 2 eyes now. This entire lawsuit is worthless. So, obviously things can only get worse. While I was doing this research, I really did want to figure out why Billy cared so much about this score, but the more I did, the more it made sense. Since that score, he has not done a single notable thing in his life. He wants that attention. He wants to have that score permanently engraved in his name. But it's not true. That's why he had to cheat to do it. Allegedly. I said allegedly. Don't sue me.
According to Billy Mitchell, in 1999 he was crowned Video Game Player of the Century at the Tokyo Game Show, and we've all seen the photo of him standing on stage with Masaya Nakamura, being presented with a plaque. Since that time, Billy has been calling himself the Video Game Player of the Century and has been telling the story about how he was crowned.
And to make a long story short, eventually, again, just as him, the most memorable moment goes back to Masaya Nakamura. He flew me to Japan on a first-class ticket. There at the Tokyo Game Show, I had many world records in addition to Pac-Man, in addition to the perfect game. He crowned me the Video Game Player of the Century at the Tokyo.
You'd imagine that at least the plaque he received would have the title Gamer of the Century somewhere on it.
Dear Billy, as father of Pac-Man, I wish to extend my heartiest congratulations on your amazing feat of becoming the first player ever to achieve a perfect score of 3,333,360 points on the Pac-Man game. The news of your accomplishment, which has spread quickly throughout the world, comes to us at a very opportune time. We are currently preparing to celebrate Pac-Man's 20th birthday on October 10th, 1999, and as part of the celebration, we will be releasing Pac-Man World 20th Anniversary for the PlayStation.
wow. Pac-Man's 20th birthday was in 1990. Fucking hell. I feel old as dirt.
PlayStation platform in October. Your historical feat will help us remind the world of this special occasion and will help us also help.
Oh, now I was too damn busy with high school. Yes. Yeah, same Battle. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, I only first found out about him, you know, about this lawsuit. So, yeah. He's been around for a hot minute. Some might even say ancient. That's very true, big dude. Yes.
Bring back memories of yesteryears for many fans of Pac-Man when, as young players, they feverishly challenged every aspect of the game. Most importantly, however, your feat will undoubtedly remind the world once again of the greatness of the game itself. The entire Namco group joins me in congratulating you and thanking you for your invaluable support of Namco's most prominent game, the Pac-Man.
Wait, where is it? Billy, where is it? People started to get curious about this whole title and if he actually received it or just lied about it. So he lost the plaque.
I can't take this shit no more.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Of course Wings makes a cameo. Of course Wings make a fucking Really? Think I see Lord Eldron in the back? Of course Wings makes a fucking cameo. Jesus Christ. Perfect timing for that, huh? But this video was a year ago. So to be fair, it's probably relevant at the time.
I don't believe that for a second, and I'm going to tell you why.
Subject to, and without waiving the foregoing objections, the responding party responds, upon a diligent search and reasonable inquiry, the responding party is unable to comply because the requested items no longer exist, or are no longer in your possession, as the responding party donated all actual physical awards or plaques obtained from this video game career to the International Video Game Hall of Fame located in Ottumwa, Iowa.
Billy is still holding on to something that happened over 20 years ago. He wouldn't be the type to just lose something so important, especially because they're a set. Wait, what do you mean?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like, why would you claim to have, dude, why would you have claimed to have lost that if that's the whole crux of your fucking case? Why would you claim to quote unquote lose that, or if you did allegedly, like, how? You're dumb. How do you not have that, like, protected somewhere? You know what I mean? It's dumb.
That's 2 plaques.
Since this time, there has only ever been one plaque, and it's always the same one that Billy took around and showed off to people at conventions. At some point, the bottom broke off the award, which is why it looks different in later photos. This story is very important to Billy, and he repeats it all the time.
Took me to Asia, where, in 1999, after having performed history's first perfect Pac-Man, on stage at a Tokyo Game Show, in front of 70,000 people, Masaya Nakamura presented me the Video Game Player of the Century Award.
The plaque was even shown off in The King of Kong. But according to Twin Galaxies, Billy Mitchell has been lying about what happened for over 2 decades. And as part of the discovery process in their lawsuit against him, they wanted to get a hold of the plaque to show that it didn't say anything about the Player of the Century.
So now there's a plaque that looks exactly like the other plaque that no one has seen. But is the one that calls him the Player of the Century? I mean, sure, if we're telling lies now, then I'm a well-rounded individual with no personal issues. Once again, this man brags about his universal record, perfect record whenever given the opportunity. He also brings up his 1 million score on Donkey Kong whenever he can. Probably in the bedroom tube, and yet you're gonna tell me that he kept his mouth shut about...
God damn, dude. You know what? You get a sub from me. There you go. Yes, I am now subbed. Yeah. In the bedroom. Oh, jeez. Next, he's going to go on about his 20-year legacy. Well, we already have someone going on about their 20-year legacy, don't we? Who else bragged about their soon-to-be 20-year legacy? Or legacies in general?
About a second plaque during every interview, every appearance, and every picture since 1999? I'm not stupid. Why are you thinking that I'm stupid? That is the last thing I remember happening about GBF. I could go on about the logic behind his BS game stores or the entire legal battlefield team, him and Twin Galaxies, but it's really boring and requires a lot of reading, and I'm illiterate, so we're done. I want to give a thank you to everyone who supports these videos, but more specifically, I want to say thank you to Anchikiara, King Johnny TH445, Hole of the Ether, Downtimer, Edge Sketch, Ash, 64 Dragon Street, Coco Bunny, Hyper Nebula 87, Ant, Pwep, Sabin, Oliver, Nakocho Official, Grizzly Ben 1990.
Okay, so there you go, chat. And Calamity Girls, I was referring to DS. But yeah, and Dark Viper could be on there too. Yes, I didn't think of Dark Viper. I was thinking initially of DSP, but yeah. So anyway, but yeah, so there you go. There's that video. So now we have. Oh, let me get rid of that one too. Make sure I don't have too many tabs open for me. Hold on, give me a second. There we go. Okay, so now I have Karl Jobst video that he linked in his Twitter post about what he allegedly said in this video. Now, this is a video that he released 2 years ago, and it's titled, Billy Mitchell Has Gone Insane and I Need Your Help. Okay? Again, this is the video that Karl linked in his Twitter post. And this allegedly shows that all he was trying to do was say, or allegedly shows that he was talking in general about Billy, and yeah, not just about him cheating, apparently. So, again, I have not seen this, chat. I don't know if any one of you have seen this. You probably have. I think Mr. Huck has. I'm sure some of you have. I have not seen this yet. So, one's in the chat if you're ready to learn and to watch this. And I'm going to move Pluto over here for now. There we go. So that way we can see the video, but still see Pluto. Because Pluto's important. Pluto's a butthead. He almost did something this morning that about made me throw up. I will explain later. Actually, I don't want to explain because let's just say that we had an incident with Pluto and Lil Huck this morning. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say. All I'm going to say. Because I don't want to ruin anybody's dinner or anything. So I'll just hush. I'll just leave it at that. And while you guys are doing that, I'm gonna get this at one. Oh, Lil Huck got sick, and Pluto tried to do something that he wasn't supposed to do. Calamity Girls, just leave it at that. I'll just leave it at that.
Hello, you absolute legends. As many of you know, last year I was officially sued by Billy Mitchell. In September of 2021, Mitchell filed a $450,000 lawsuit against me over my video titled "The Biggest Conmen in Video Game History Strike Again." In that video, I go over a couple of ridiculous lawsuits that Billy Mitchell and Todd Rogers had filed. I get questions all the time from people asking me if I'm still being sued, and the answer is yes. Not only am I still being sued, but as you're about to find out, things have gotten out of hand. Billy Mitchell's compulsive need to threaten and sue people that talk about him has reached all-time highs, and you will not believe what he has recently done to try to silence me. But before that, I want to give you an idea about how expensive and devastating defending a frivolous lawsuit can be. In the past year alone, my legal defense has cost $1,000. Yes, you heard correctly, $1,000. Obviously, I can't get into the specifics, but there are a lot of things that have to happen before trial, and it's all extremely expensive. Now, luckily, I've been in a very fortunate position because I had a couple of people reach out to me and have helped immensely over the past 12 months. Notch, the creator of Minecraft, was very helpful in the beginning and has
Wonder how Notch feels now. Dogs are gross, but we love them. True. Very, very true. Yeah, I bet he is too. But again, he also could be waiting for Karl's response, which, truthfully, I don't blame him for. Or anybody else for that matter. Yeah, do you know what I could do? Exactly. Yeah, what I could do to
supported me a lot. And then another gentleman by the name of Julian was extremely generous and funded a huge amount of money. Those guys are absolutely insane, and I will always be in their debt for the help they have provided me. $180,000 is so much money, and I can't even begin to imagine what it would be like for someone who did not have the support system I do to face something like this alone. Which also just highlights how vile and disgusting people are that abuse the legal system to frivolously attack people they want to silence. It is estimated that this lawsuit is going to cost at least another $100,000 before it's over. But things get a lot worse and a lot more stupid from here. Because you see, Billy Mitchell isn't satisfied just suing me once. Oh no, he's going to sue me again. In April of this—
Okay, so this is where it gets a little confusing for me, or it got a little confusing for me. This is the part where the second lawsuit comes up, right? Now, I'm interested in listening to this.
This year, I released a video called "Disgraced Gamer Billy Mitchell Accused of Extortion," where I factually and objectively reported on accusations made against Mitchell by the current Donkey Kong World Record holder, Robbie Lakeman. If you watched that video, you'll notice that at no point did I ever give my opinion on the validity of those accusations. I was simply reporting on public claims made by a very noteworthy person, who was also someone that Mitchell was using as a defense witness in his own lawsuits. But Mitchell didn't want to sue the person that actually made the claims. No, he wants to sue me just for talking about them. So first—
Okay, so this is where he states in here, "From the beginning of this whole thing, I didn't want to state an opinion on the matter because I just cared about the strategies Bill used, along with the numbers people said were too high. Proving what was wrong was fun. I still stand by the numbers I presented, and I stayed true to the idea that save states wouldn't be needed to finish those games, okay? I just didn't think someone would stoop so low as to extorting witnesses to get their way." Okay, they also wanted to get some docu-series made about this whole story, so it wouldn't surprise me if all the delays in the courts were just theater for more content. That's fair, I guess, at the time. We all know that video with him and the judge would be inserted into that and then find ways to use the court to do it more. Just my 2 cents on that, but if there was a way to get all this thrown out, I would suggest TG and Billy, and take that route before gamers look worse than they already do in the real world. Also, if you're in the Miami area and need tech help with arcades, avoid Neil. He's Billy extortion is bad for business. Okay. Well then. All right.
First, his lawyer sent me a letter saying that the video was defamatory, and after we made it clear that I wouldn't take the video down because all of my statements in the video were literally true, and I wasn't even the person who made the claims he has a problem with, he sent me another $450,000 lawsuit. Now this is already stupid enough, as in my humble opinion, he has absolutely no case, and this is just an attempt to scare me, but it still gets even worse. Because Billy Mitchell isn't satisfied just suing me twice. Oh no, apparently he wants to go for the hat trick and sue me 3 times. And this latest action is the worst yet, and you couldn't even make this up if you tried. In May of this year, I released a video called "I Cheated in a Speedrun and I Need to Come Clean," which was a parody video where I jokingly made fun of myself for submitting a few cheated scores to a gaming magazine over 20 years ago when I was a kid. Anyone who's watched that video might be wondering what this has to do with Billy Mitchell, as the video wasn't about him, nor did I even talk about him. And that's a valid question. But here is the amazing thing. While it is true that I didn't mention or talk about Billy Mitchell, I did show this clip.
You're familiar with Billy Mitchell, world video game champion? He could probably do it, so I gotta find a way to harness his power, and I think I found a way.
That's right, we're gonna cheat.
This is a meme that was made back in 2020, which has over 4 million views on YouTube and millions of views on Twitter. That's right.
What are we thinking so far, chat? Yeah, over a meme. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to look at Karl's tweet one more time. Give me a second. Just based upon that statement alone, I'm going to pull up Karl's tweet. Give me a second. That I falsely claimed Billy sued me because I said he cheated. I never claimed this. I only claimed it was relevant as part of my defense. Kind of contradicts that a little bit, doesn't it? Just a little bit. Just a little.
In the entire video, I literally did not mention Billy Mitchell at all, or talk about him. I simply randomly threw in this meme of someone else talking as a joke, and Billy Mitchell wants to sue me for this. Shortly after I released that video, his lawyer sent me this letter. And mind you, this isn't just a letter, this is a concerns notice, which is a legal document that you are required to send to someone before you sue them. We act for William Mitchell. This is a concerns notice for the purpose of Section 14, Defamation Act, Queensland 2005. On 13th of September 2021, our client commenced a claim against you for defamation damages in respect to the publication of a video on the digital platform YouTube on or about 26th of May 2021. On 10th of April 2022, you posted on the web a video entitled Disgraced Gamer Billy Mitchell Accused of Extortion, which is the subject of a concerns notice sent to you on 20th of April 2022. On 7th of May 2022, you posted on the web a further video entitled I cheated in a speedrun and I need to come clean, which read relevantly as follows. I needed to harness the power of the greatest gamer that ever lived. You're familiar with Billy Mitchell, world video game champion. He could probably do it, so I gotta find a way to harness his power, and I think I found a way. That's right, we are going to cheat. Mr. Mitchell was identified in the publication by his name. The words in their order.
Yes, Nintendo Mail. I talked about that earlier. Yes. Karl helped Muda with the completionist story, and I want to say that he helped him with Keffel's too, or maybe some other stories. I don't know. I don't remember that for sure, and I don't know that for sure. But I do know that Karl helped him out and worked with him on the completionist stuff. Yes, he did.
Ordinary and natural meaning meant and were understood to mean that Billy Mitchell is a person who defrauds, deceives, or tricks other people and is a swindler.
No, Karl helped him with the completionist stuff, or at least attributed to some of that stuff. But I think I may know where you're going with this, Nintendo Mail. I'm not sure though. I think that they were friendly, or at least friends. I don't know that for sure, but I think I remember hearing that. I could be misremembering. So, yeah, they worked together, but I think that they were friends too.
Billy Mitchell is guilty of fraudulently hoodwinking so as to obtain unfair advantage when competing in video games. The words and the imputations are untrue and are grossly defamatory. Yeah, I'm sure they are. The video has been viewed by a substantial number of people, and an extensive number of comments have been posted on your YouTube page. Section 10A of the Defamation Act at the time of your publication requires Mr. Mitchell to establish that your publication has caused, or is likely to cause, serious harm to his reputation. Oh my lord. Billy Mitchell is a joke. He has become a parody of himself. This letter is nothing short of hilarious, and I would otherwise be laughing if not for the fact that this is a real letter written by a real lawyer that my lawyers really had to respond to. I sincerely cannot believe that even he would stoop this low. But just think about this for a moment. The video wasn't about Billy Mitchell at all. I didn't talk about him or mention him. In fact, the video was about me cheating. All I did was include a 10-second meme that I didn't make, that isn't even of me talking, that's an obvious joke, that was released years ago and already has millions of views. And Billy Mitchell started legal action against me, claiming that it's defamation. But what makes this so much crazier is that Billy Mitchell did cheat. So not only does he want to sue me over a meme that someone else made, but he wants to sue me over a meme that someone else made that's true. And what's ironic is that there are hundreds of comments underneath the YouTube video of this clip of people making fun of Billy, joking, saying that he's going to sue them for posting it. And then he actually does go and threaten to sue me for using that exact clip. This is what I mean when I say he is a parody of himself. People can't even...
Yeah, he does call him, he does call him a cheater. Yeah, absolutely. Wasn't Muda, oh, I'm sorry. They did, yes, when I'm talking about the Billy versus Karl lawsuit. Wasn't Muda like support Karl on this case? Nintendo Mail, I would imagine that he would have been. There were a lot of people that were supporting Karl, though, not just Muda. There were a lot of people that were supporting Karl during this whole ordeal. You know what I mean? Muda obviously wasn't the only one, but yeah. I mean, Billy Mitchell is a cheater. I love it, Bitchel. I love it. Billy Bitchel. That's great. But yeah, it's again, Chad, if I'm listening wrong, this heavily does kind of indicate that he's claiming that he cheated and saying that he cheated. Nowhere in there does it state anything about his statements. Now, again, we're gonna probably find out about more of that, but nowhere in there does it state anything about what he said about him and Apollo Legend. But again, just pointing stuff out here. None of that has been mentioned. I'm sure that we'll find out why. I can't wait. We need his response. We just need Karl's response. We do. No, I don't know if we're gonna. Now listen, my guess is that he's gonna respond, and a lot of people are gonna pick that apart, and rightfully so. Especially in light of, what we all just found out, or what other people just have found out too. But yeah, Chet, nowhere in here does it say anything about Apollo Legend. Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Even joke about him anymore, because he really does act that way. Now, it's all well and good to laugh about how crazy this whole situation is, but unfortunately for me, it comes with huge consequences. I have done absolutely nothing wrong, and I will never be scared into silence by anyone. But until I win in court and defeat this madness, it's going to cost a ton of money. And I'm truly sorry, but I do need help. Maybe if I was the only variable in this whole mess, I could battle my way through it alone. But unfortunately, this affects my entire family too. And psychologically and financially, some help would really benefit not only me, but them as well. So I have set up a GoFundMe to help with my fight against Billy Mitchell, and any help would be immensely appreciated. This GoFundMe is set to cover the rest of my existing lawsuit, plus the new lawsuit that Billy Mitchell says he will be filing, plus having to deal with all of the other bullshit threats that come my way. This is in Australian dollars, so it's not as large as it seems, but it's still a very significant amount of money that it's going to take to defeat Mitchell. There is light at the end of the tunnel though. In Australian court, generally the loser has to pay a lot of the legal fees of the winning party. So if I eventually win, which does seem extremely likely, Mitchell should have to pay back a lot of money. And I was thinking that
well, that didn't end up working out in your favor, now did it? Cool Anime Girls, I went over Apollo Legend earlier, but brief TLDR on him. He was a former speedrunner, I guess. Yeah, he was a former speedrunner that unfortunately has since passed away. That Dark Viper went up against, and people like that, but he was a former speedrunner, and the reason why Apollo is involved in this is because that is what Billy was suing Karl Jobst for. Was Karl Jobst stated that Billy was responsible for Apollo's death because Apollo unalived himself. But again, like I said, nowhere in this video of Karl's does it state anything about Apollo. Now, are there other videos out there that he potentially put out that indicate that? I don't know. He stated a couple of videos that he talked about Billy in and referenced some points there, but we'll have to look into that. But again, I think that his response is going to be imperative. And obviously we can, watch the rest of what we have here too. But yeah, this made me mad, IRL. Yeah, a lot of people were mad, Zane. Yeah, a lot of people were mad. And again, rightfully so, because they felt duped. You know what I mean? Because even Willie Mack, not just saying only Willie Mack, but even Willie Mack came out and said, excuse me, what? That is not what I thought this lawsuit was for. A lot of people were saying it. It's crazy.
in his honor, I could use that money to put on an epic gaming tournament. Perhaps we could call it the Gary Bobby Ferguson Memorial Epic Gaming Event for people who don't cheat in video games or sue people who call them out. I'm not sure, I might have to find a way to shorten it a bit. The next 12 months will not be good for Billy Mitchell. He has his trial against Twin Galaxies coming up, and in my opinion, and in the opinion of anyone who knows the details of Mitchell's cheating, he has absolutely no chance of winning. Especially when even more technical evidence showing that he cheated keeps coming out. As if it wasn't already conclusive enough, recently, a huge document from an electrical engineer showed a mountain of new evidence that Billy's story isn't true. And when he loses this lawsuit against Twin Galaxies, oh boy, they are going to come after him hard. Mitchell can keep threatening people.
I have a question. For those that have followed this a little bit more closely, is the lawsuit with Twin Galaxies still ongoing? Is that still happening or no? Because I heard, as I was looking stuff up, since last night and looking stuff up today, that one of the lawsuits was dropped, but I wasn't sure which one it was. That was long ago. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. What was the outcome of that? Did it get dropped or did anybody win? Does anybody know? They put him up again, but on a separate place, so they technically comply, but still kind of point out that he cheated. Ah, gotcha. Gotcha. I see. Yeah, I just pulled up the story. Or a story about it, I think. Yeah. Hold on, I just found this, chat. I'll show you. So this was from 2024, May 30th of 2024. Hold on, let me expand this just a little bit and pull this over here. Yeah, judge sides with Arcade Gamer and dispute over terms of settlement with Twin Galaxies. Okay, alright. God damn, dude. That is crazy. Tis be insane.
People for now, but as soon as he loses one of these lawsuits, which is inevitable, he will be absolutely destroyed and everything will come crumbling down.
Well, that didn't happen. That did not happen, as we can see. Yeah. I mean, granted, we're a lot of people, like I said, I've said this like a million times now, I'm sorry, chat, but were a lot of people like rooting for Karl? Yeah. They were, and rightfully so at the time. Pac-Man strikes again. True.
So this has been an update to what I've been dealing with behind the scenes. Again, if you have the means, I would appreciate any help, so please consider donating to my GoFundMe, or consider sharing this video. Thank you so much for watching, you legends. I hope you are having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video.
Okay. So like I said, this was the video that he linked on his Twitter. Now we get to the good stuff. Now, I found, and I think that actually somebody sent, it was Purple. Purple sent this to me, I think. Now, I was sent a condensed, shorter version of the verdict. This one is about 24 minutes. Now, I don't know how long the original verdict was. From what I understand, it was pretty long. I didn't get a chance to watch it yesterday live, but the verdict was read out live. And this is the judge that proceeded over the case. So this has been enhanced and trimmed. So yeah, we're going to watch this. So yes, this is an edited version, yes. But I think that this is a condensed. Should we watch the whole thing or no? Yes, Nintendo Mail, I know that it's edited. Should I find the full video? Hold on. Let me see something here, chat. The original was like twice the length. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, let me find the original link here. There it is. So this is, if you want to chat, if you want to watch the whole thing, for those who haven't, this is the link to the original. So if you want to watch the whole thing there, go for it. But this breaks it up into timestamps. So that's nice. So yeah, there you go. All right, let's watch this, shall we? All right, here we go.
In many countries, including Australia, since 1982. At an arcade and video gaming competition in November that year, the plaintiff, William Mitchell III, commonly known as Billy Mitchell, lives in Florida, United States of America. He has been well known among adherents of video and arcade gaming in many countries, including Australia, since 1982. At an arcade and video gaming competition in November that year that took place in Ottumwa, Iowa, USA, playing an arcade game called Donkey Kong, Mr. Mitchell scored a world record 874,300 points and was the first person ever recorded as reaching the kill screen, that is, reaching the end of the game. At the time, he was 17 years of age. Mr. Mitchell went on to be recognized as having achieved a number of world records and world firsts in video and arcade gaming. They included achieving the first perfect score of 3,333,360 in another game called Pac-Man in 1999, setting a new world record and the first score of over 1 million points, the record being 1,047,200 points in Donkey Kong in June 2005, another Donkey Kong world record of 1,050,200 points in July 2007, and a third Donkey Kong world record of 1,062,800 points in July 2010. Those records were recognized by such bodies as Guinness World Records and Twin Galaxies, which is an American company that organizes gaming competitions and keeps a database of records and rankings across various gaming platforms. In 2017, Mr. Mitchell was accused of having cheated in achieving his Donkey Kong World Records by allegedly using computer emulation software instead of original arcade hardware. Twin Galaxies investigated the accusation, and in April 2018, it announced that it had concluded that 2 of Mr. Mitchell's world record scores were not produced by the direct feed output of an original, unmodified Donkey Kong arcade printed circuit board, or PCB. It was not able to determine whether the third score was produced on original arcade gaming hardware or with the use of emulation software. As a consequence of its findings, it announced that it had decided to remove all of Mr. Mitchell's scores and to ban him from participating in its competitive leaderboards. The following day, Guinness World Records announced that as a consequence of Twin Galaxies' decision, it too had disqualified Mr. Mitchell as the holder of all his records, both in Donkey Kong and in Pac-Man. Mr. Mitchell commenced proceedings in the United States for defamation against Twin Galaxies and a number of others. One of those lawsuits was against a young man, Benjamin Smith, who was known online as Apollo Legend. I refer to him as Apollo Legend in my reasons. He published videos on YouTube about gaming, including a number in which he accused Mr. Mitchell of cheating, falsifying his Donkey Kong scores, and not using legitimate gaming hardware. Mr. Mitchell...
Okay, so this is where Apollo comes in. Oh boy.
And Apollo Legend settled that proceeding on 22 August 2020. Their agreement relevantly provided that Apollo Legend would remove all of his YouTube videos and social media posts that referred to Mr. Mitchell. He would assign the copyright in those YouTube videos to Mr. Mitchell, and he would permanently cease producing any oral, written, or electronic documents or communications that in any way mentioned or referred to Mr. Mitchell or his family, apart from...
God damn, Jesus, Billy is... God bless it. Holy shit. Dude, I was thinking this earlier, but this proved it right here, that Billy has oh my God, he has lawyers that know what the hell they're doing. Hey, Zero. I mean, holy cow. Wow. Exactly, Battle. I'm the same way right now. That is insane.
Making an agreed statement in terms provided in the settlement agreement. Any breach by Apollo Legend of the last of these obligations would result in him being liable to Mr. Mitchell for $25,000 for each breach, unless he committed such a breach.
Yeah, exactly. That's extremely thorough. Exactly. That's why I said Billy's got some damn good lawyers. Holy cow.
He did not have to pay Mr. Mitchell any money. Apollo Legend appears to have complied.
Oh, wait, hold on. Back up. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Permanently cease producing any oral, written, or electronic documents or communications that in any way mentioned or referred to Mr. Mitchell or his family, apart from making an agreed statement in terms provided in the settlement agreement. Any breach by Apollo Legend of the last of these obligations would result in him being liable to Mr. Mitchell for $25,000 for each breach. Unless he committed such a breach, he did not have to pay Mr. Mitchell any money. Apollo Legend appears to have complied with that agreement. However, on 20 December 2020, he published a video on YouTube, referred to in this proceeding as his goodbye video, in which he told viewers that he was recording his final video. He said, "This is the end of my life," and he explained why. In that video, he did not mention Mr. Mitchell, nor the claim against him or the settlement agreement. Shortly after publishing it, he committed suicide. Defendant...
Yeah, that's so sad. Anytime that Apollo gets brought up in different situations, and he's been brought up quite a bit, you know, not just with Dark Viper, but with this, it makes me sad. Oh, that's awful. Awful. Sorry, saying hi is about the energy I have tonight. Oh, I get it. Listen, I totally understand. I just got over being sick too, remember? I get it. Yeah, that wore me out too. And the stress... Hold on, what'd you say, Zane? And the stress before they agreed that he didn't need to pay was probably quite a lot as well. Yeah. I mean, I can only imagine what, not just Apollo, but what, you know, and anybody that, when they go through lawsuits like that are going through. I can't even begin to imagine. But it's unfortunate Apollo did what he did. Now, yeah, it's really sad.
Karl Jobst lives in Queensland. He regularly publishes videos on YouTube, mostly about speedrunning, but also about video and arcade gaming world records and people who cheat in those games. He has over 1 million followers on his YouTube channel. On 26 May 2021, he published a video about Mr. Mitchell and another video gamer, Todd Rogers, entitled "The Biggest Conmen in Video Game History Strike Again." He accused Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Rogers of cheating and of pursuing unmeritorious litigation against people who had accused them of cheating. He also said the following about Mr. Mitchell, quote, "He also sued YouTuber Apollo Legend for $1 million. I haven't spoken about this publicly, but this lawsuit ultimately ended with Apollo giving in and settling with Mitchell. He was forced to remove all his videos about Mitchell's cheating and paid him a large sum of money. This left him deeply in debt, which required him to find extra work, but with his ongoing health issues, this was all too much of a burden, and he ultimately took his own life. Not that Billy Mitchell would ever care, though. In fact, when Billy Mitchell thought Apollo died earlier, he expressed joy at the thought. The lawsuit against Apollo was just as frivolous as the rest, and Apollo definitely would have won in court. But again, he was extremely ill and couldn't handle the ongoing stress." And
pulls a Medicare and the anger keeps him alive despite the cancer. I love Mr. Medicare. Oh my god, we must protect him at all costs, seriously. Or try to anyway. Fuck cancer. And just, god. And just people with dealing with mental illness and this happening. I don't want to say that it's personal to me, but it kind of is. Because, unfortunately, I've known of people, and I hope that, chat, you haven't experienced this a whole lot because it's god awful. But unfortunately, I've experienced my fair share of people within my life throughout the years of that happening, of unaliving, and it's absolutely horrific. And especially when you have family or whoever, or friends, or whoever it may be, fight over what the cause was, or, things of that nature, it doesn't help. None of that helps. You know what I mean? But awful. Just awful.
To quote,
okay, so anyway, sorry. Back to what Karl said. Yeah, that sounds like he was blaming Billy. At least, again, hearing that quote from the video sounds like he was blaming Billy for what happened. Now, I don't know. Again, I will reserve judgment on that until we hear Karl's response, for the most part. My opinion, though, is that it really does sound like that Karl was blaming Billy. Same, Nintendo Mail. Same. It's a touchy subject for me too, and I'd rather not share either. Yeah, because I will bawl like a baby, and that's not what we're here for tonight, chat. That's not what we're here for. So, yeah.
Video containing that passage was online for 10 days from 26 May 2021 to 4 June 2021, and for an additional 5 days from 9 June to 13 June 2021. In between those dates, and since 13 June 2021, the video has remained online, but it contains only the first 2 sentences and the last sentence of the passage that I have just read. While the video was first online in its full version, 2 relevant events occurred. First, on 3 June 2020, Mr. Mitchell published his own YouTube video in response to Mr. Jobst's video. He denied as lies the assertion that Apollo Legend had paid him any money as part of the settlement, or that he...
Okay, so I think that this is where... I think I know what he's referring to, and I have that pulled up too. Now, and I was going to bring this up too, but I'll go ahead and bring it up now. What he is referring to is a video that Billy Mitchell did on his YouTube channel in response to Karl. That video was up as of last night. As of this morning, it has since been removed. Billy removed it. Now, that video had been up for 3 years. Right? At least from what I remember of seeing of it, okay? The only one that I have been able to find that was able to react to the full thing I think he reacted to the full thing. That reacted to the full thing last night was Nicholas Diorio. I have not been able to find a re-upload of it. I wasn't able to look, or I wasn't able to find that today. I don't know if it will get brought up or not, but if it does get re-uploaded, then we can, react to it or talk about it then. But I have that pulled up too. So, because like I said, that was the only one that I was able to find was Nicholas's reaction to it. So, but yeah, I think that is what he's referring to right here.
He had had any involvement with Apollo Legend that had led him to commit suicide. He asserted that Mr. Jobst had effectively accused him of murder. He ended the video by saying, quote, "I plan to respond the way that everybody anticipates for me to respond. And Karl, expect me." End quote. The second relevant event is that a mutual acquaintance of Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Jobst, known online as Keemstar, contacted Mr. Jobst at Mr. Mitchell's request and told him that it was not true that Apollo Legend had paid Mr. Mitchell any money. Mr. Jobst agreed to take down...
Of course, wait a minute, back up. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
All that he had had any involvement with Apollo Legend that had led him to commit suicide. He asserted that Mr. Jobst had effectively accused him of murder. He ended the video by saying, quote, "I plan to respond the way that everybody anticipates for me to respond. And Karl, expect me." End quote. The second relevant event is that a mutual acquaintance of Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Jobst, known online as Keemstar, contacted Mr. Jobst at Mr. Mitchell's...
Why am I not surprised that Keemstar mentioned this. Why? Why am I not surprised? Or Keemstar is mentioned in this, excuse me. I am not. Is anybody shocked by that? No. Oh, Nick called Keem? Ooh. It's interesting. Well, Nintendo Mail, Nicholas Yorio re-uploaded the video of his reaction to this, to the verdict, and to Billy's video. He re-uploaded it as a video, and I have that pulled up. All right. Well, while you're looking for that, Zane, I appreciate it. Well, let's continue.
Request and told him that it was not true that Apollo Legend had paid Mr. Mitchell any money. Mr. Jobst agreed to take down that part of the video while he investigated that issue further. While not taking it all down, he only left up the first and last sentences of the passage that I have read. He then emailed Apollo Legend's brother to ask him whether Apollo Legend had to pay any money to Mr. Mitchell as part of the settlement. Mr. Mitchell's lawyers then served a concerns notice on Mr. Jobst, asserting that he had defamed Mr. Mitchell. In response, Mr. Jobst posted that letter on Twitter, claiming it to be very exciting and that any action would be an amazing experience. He then reinstated the original version of the video on his YouTube channel. It was not until 13 June 2021 that Apollo Legend's brother informed Mr. Jobst that Apollo Legend had not paid any money to Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Jobst then altered the video again to remove all except the first two and the last sentences. That version has remained on his YouTube channel since then. The video containing all of the offending passage was downloaded in the periods that it was online by over 500,000 people, including over 20,000 in Australia. Since then, over 8,000 comments have been made on the video, including at least 396 that, it may be said, accused Mr. Mitchell of causing Apollo Legend to commit suicide and even called him a murderer, evil.
Wow. Wow. Whoo, damn. This verdict is thorough too. Holy cow.
And a scumbag. Similar comments have also been made on videos by other publishers on YouTube.
Well, he is a scumbag. Just saying. He is. He 100% is. Billy is. But that's neither here nor there, I guess.
Or other online media. The most recent that has been brought to my attention having been made in early 2024. In this action, Mr. Mitchell sues Mr. Jobst for defamation, claiming $400,000 in general damages and $50,000 in aggravated damages. Mr. Mitchell contends that the video, particularly the passage that I have read, made 5 defamatory imputations about him. Those imputations were...
Yeah, Kalemi Girls, I agree. He is a scumbag, but some of the comments may be going a bit too far, especially murderer. Well, fortunately, I'm not surprised by that, and I'm sure none of you are either. You know, people tend to go to the extreme, as we well know. And do I agree with any of that? Absolutely not. But unfortunately, it happens, and it's not the first time that we've heard of a creator or whoever being accused of that kind of thing, and people, again, like I said, going to the extreme. I'm not surprised by that in the slightest. Do I think that right off the bat that Billy was responsible for Apollo? No. Now, I do feel that the stress of this lawsuit against Apollo didn't help, but I would never, ever say that Billy was responsible for what happened to Apollo. Would never, ever say that, right? There's no evidence of that. There never has been evidence of that. Unless there is ever evidence of that, you know, obviously that did not happen, right? It's response to Karl Jobst regarding Apollo Legend by Mitchell. Is that it? Maybe. Zane, go ahead and send that to me. Let me look at it. I'm not sure, though. It might be. Hold on. You know what? Let me see something. Hold on. Let me check to make sure, because I got the... Yes! Yes, that's it. Yes. That is the name of it. Yes. Okay. Hold on a minute. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at you, Saint. Look at you doing the Lord's work. Look at you. Oh, 7 to you, Saint. You are amazing. Thank you, thank you. It can have an effect, and the stress can maybe be a part of a reason, but I wouldn't say it's his fault. No, I wouldn't either. If someone is committing the act, yeah. Again, I agree. But when it comes to that kind of thing, it's very touchy, right? And I would never, again, like I said, there's no evidence of Billy ever doing that, or anybody that we are aware of causing this to happen, sadly, with Apollo. Nor would I ever say that Billy is responsible. He's not. But would I say that the stress of this lawsuit affected Apollo? Yes, I will say that because it did. I'm sure that it did. There's, obviously there's proof of that to a certain degree that it did cause some stress to him. So just putting it out there, the wording in Karl's video doesn't outright call Billy for Apollo's passing. The wording he used could definitely be implied that he was a contributing factor. Yes, B-Soms, I agree. Now, do I agree with again, not ever, will never ever say that Billy was responsible for what happened with Apollo. So, we'll put that out there. Which is why I'm also very curious, even more so than what I already was, on what on what Karl's response is going to be about that portion with Apollo. So
First, Mr. Mitchell had required Apollo Legend to pay him a large amount of money to settle Mr. Mitchell's defamation claim against him, which caused Apollo Legend to go into considerable debt and to take on extra work to survive. Secondly, a major contributing factor in Apollo Legend's decision to take his own life was Mr. Mitchell's requirement that Apollo Legend pay him a large sum of money to settle the defamation claim. Third, Mr. Mitchell had hounded Apollo Legend to death. Fourth, Mr. Mitchell was the main cause, or alternatively a cause, of Apollo Legend taking his own life. And fifth, Mr. Mitchell's conduct was a contributing factor in Apollo Legend taking his own life. Mr. Jobst denied that the imputations alleged by Mr. Mitchell were made in the video. I have found that the video made each of those defamatory imputations. Mr. Jobst also defended the claim on a number of other grounds. First, he alleged that Mr. Mitchell had a pre-existing bad reputation that meant that any of the defamatory imputations alleged would not have harmed him. That reputation, Mr. Jobst alleged, was threefold. First, Mr. Mitchell had cheated to gain recognition as the highest or one of the highest scorers in Donkey Kong. Secondly, he had used litigation processes to coerce others to recognize him as a world record holder in Donkey Kong and to refrain from identifying him as a person who had been found to have cheated at video arcade games. And third, that he would ostracize anyone he considered a threat to his world records in Donkey Kong. As to his alleged pre-existing bad reputation, I have found that Mr. Mitchell did have a reputation as a cheat in Donkey Kong and a reputation for suing people who alleged that he was a cheat. I have found that...
There you go. Oh, gee, I wonder what Billy's gonna do with this. Yeah, Karl L., I agree. Burn, I agree. Well, I will say it doesn't look good for Karl. It doesn't. I will say that. I can only imagine his thoughts as he wrote that and read it. True. I can too. But yeah, that's a very honest take there, Judge. That's a very honest take. Yeah.
That he did not have a reputation for ostracizing anyone he considered a threat to his achievements. Mr. Judd's other principal defense was that the video made 5 other defamatory imputations, each of which was substantially true, and as a result of which, the imputations about which Mr. Mitchell complains did not cause any greater harm to him or his reputation. Those imputations, which are referred to in defamation law in Queensland as contextual imputations, were, first, Mr. Mitchell was publicly exposed as having cheated to achieve his record scores in Donkey Kong. Second, Mr. Mitchell was banned from submitting scores to Twin Galaxies for cheating. Third, Mr. Mitchell had planned to create a video that he could use fraudulently as evidence that he had achieved the score of 1,062,800 in Donkey Kong. Fourth, Mr. Mitchell had callously expressed joy at the thought of Apollo Legend's death. And fifth, Mr. Mitchell used litigation to force third parties to recognize his achievements in video gaming. I have found...
Let's continue. I'll hold my thought for now.
Found that all of those contextual imputations were made in the video. All but one of them were substantially true. It was not true that he had planned to produce a fraudulent video. To be clear, I was not required to decide, nor did I decide, whether Mr. Mitchell had in fact cheated in gaining any of his world record scores. Mr. Jobst did not attempt to prove that that finding by Twin Galaxies was correct. Notwithstanding these findings, I have concluded that the defamatory imputations made by Mr. Jobst, that are the subject of Mr. Mitchell's claim, have caused substantial additional damage to Mr. Mitchell's reputation and have caused him considerable additional distress. Therefore, Mr. Jobst is liable to pay damages to Mr. Mitchell for those defamatory imputations. I shall come shortly to the amount of those damages. Mr. Mitchell also asserted that Mr. Jobst's conduct in publishing the video, and after doing so, was unjustifiable and caused additional personal...
I agree, B-Soms, yeah. It doesn't look good, but when dealing with legal, you never know what you can say without giving your arguments away. Yeah. Or again, with that, I would like to see Karl's response. I'll keep saying it. You know what I mean? I agree, but when it comes to this kind of thing, yeah, it can be messy. It's very messy. But yeah.
Hurt to Mr. Mitchell and harm to his reputation, which justifies the court awarding additional damages known as aggravated damages. This conduct, alleged by Mr. Mitchell, included first, making the allegations recklessly and without checking their truth. Secondly, publishing the video twice. Thirdly, holding malice and pursuing a vendetta against Mr. Mitchell. Fourthly, mocking Mr. Mitchell's complaint about the video and his legal action. Fifthly, persisting in his contention that Mr. Mitchell's action against Apollo Legend had contributed to his decision to commit suicide.
I wonder what that'll be, but I hope he just goes balls deep since he said so before. Yeah. Oh, you mean, Zane, you mean Karl's response? Yeah, I don't know. Not saying or implying he's the reason for... Oh, I'm sorry, hold on. You know what I will say is Billy kind of ruined his own reputation with all the suing. True. Yeah, no, I agree. Not saying or implying he's the reason for someone... Yeah. No, I'm not saying that it is either. But like I said in the beginning, Billy's reputation doesn't help. So, yeah, exactly. Karl's response going to be divisive after this? Oh, yeah. Yep. I sense that will happen too.
Suicide, and sixthly, failing to apologise and to withdraw the allegation. I have found that Mr. Jobst was reckless in making the allegations. His assertions were based on a fallacy, namely that Apollo Legend had paid Mr. Mitchell a large sum of money. That was simply wrong, and he had no reasonable basis for asserting it. Yet even after finding out the truth, he has continued to assert that the settlement had a negative financial impact on Apollo Legend, and that he still believes that the settlement was a contributing factor to his decision to commit suicide. Mr. Jobst was also reckless and vindictive in publishing the full video twice. At the time he republished it, he had been told by Mr. Mitchell, via his response video, by their mutual acquaintance Keemstar, and by Mr. Mitchell's lawyers, that what he had said about the payment was not true. He told Keemstar that he would not republish that part of the video unless he received concrete evidence that it was true. But by the time he republished it, he had not heard from Apollo Legend's brother, whom he had asked for information about the settlement, so he did not know any more than he had earlier, but he nevertheless decided to republish the entire video regardless. In his evidence, he said that he did this because he thought Mr. Mitchell would sue him anyway. His attitude appears to have been, well, if I'm going to be sued, I may as well go for broke and damn the consequences. It was reckless and showed an absolute disregard for the truth or for the effect of his video on Mr. Mitchell and his reputation. On 29 July 2021, that is about 6 weeks after he finally edited the video and took out the offending passage, Mr. Jobst published a video in which he retracted his statement that Apollo Legend had paid Mr. Mitchell money, and he apologized to his viewers for having given them incorrect information. At the trial, he relied on that video as being evidence of his bona fides and as reducing any harm caused to Mr. Mitchell by his original video. However, that video did not retract the imputations at all. It simply retracted the statement that Apollo Legend had paid Mr. Mitchell a large sum of money. Mr. Jobst did not apologize to Mr. Mitchell in any way, rather apologizing to his viewers for having made an incorrect statement in the offending video. Also,
well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. My question is this. I wonder, even if he were to have apologized to Billy, would it have mattered? Would it have done anything? Would it have continued? Would the outcome still be the case? You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. The legalese really coming out. Yeah, true. I mean, again, it's a whataboutism to a certain degree. Like, what if, or kind of, maybe that's not the right term to use, but it's like a what if situation, I guess is the better way to put it. Like, what if Karl would have apologized to Billy? You know, what would have happened? We won't know. It could have gone way differently, or could have gone about the same, or who knows? You know what I mean? I can probably guesstimate, just based upon from what I've seen and from what I know, I would guess that Billy would have continued with it anyway. Now, would the outcome be a little bit different? Would things be a little bit different in that regard? I don't know. We won't ever know, right? Yeah, exactly. I think the outcome would still be Billy sued. However, it would have probably looked better to the judge. Yeah. It would have, or it could have, yeah. It very well could have. But we will never know, chat.
this retraction video was, in total, a little over 30 minutes long. For the first 28 minutes and 24 seconds, it had nothing to do with arcade gaming, cheating, or Mr. Mitchell. It was about a particular type of speedrunning. It then went blank for a few seconds before it returned with Mr. Jobs' alleged retraction statement, which itself lasted only about 45 seconds. Even then, he wrongly said that Mr. Mitchell had not tried to contact him to clear up the error, and he insinuated that he still believed that Mr. Mitchell was responsible for Apollo Legends' decision. Finally, Mr. Jobs' conduct of this litigation, together with his additional online comments about it, were aggravating features of his conduct. He seems to see himself in defending this claim as a crusader against Mr. Mitchell. He is the last of the defendants who have been sued by Mr. Mitchell, and the only one, apart from Mr. Race, who has not backed down. Even in February 2024, as this action was progressing toward trial, he said in an online interview, quote, "Billy Mitchell needs to be destroyed in court. These people need to be punished in a big way before they stop. They need to get taught a lesson. So I am now the last chance. I am the last chance the public has to punish Billy. And also, the last person on YouTube what you want to lose to is me. You know there's going to be 100 vids rubbing it in. I will never let Billy forget this, assuming I win. I've got to win first, but man, if I win, oh boy, I'm not going to be a good winner." End quote.
Yeah, that aged real well. Yeah, exactly. That's not good. Yep. Now, if I, yeah, things aren't looking too good for Karl right now. Yeah, just they weren't looking good before, but with that right there, doesn't look good at all.
Jobs clearly intended to be the knight who slew the Mitchell dragon. Unfortunately for him, his lance was not as strong as he believed it to be, and it has broken in the contest. I have found that all of this conduct has caused Mr. Mitchell additional personal harm and additional harm to his reputation. It was severely aggravating conduct that merits an award of aggravated damages. Again, I will come shortly to the amount of aggravated damages that I will award. I was asked by each party to make adverse findings about the truthfulness of the other party's witnesses and the reliability or otherwise of their evidence. In my full
Good night, Neon. Hope you feel better. This judge is based. Yes, I agree. Yes. Yeah. I like this judge. I do.
reasons, I have given detailed consideration to those submissions. I don't propose to reprise that discussion and my conclusions now. Having made these findings, I consider that Mr. Mitchell is entitled to an award of damages against Mr. Jobst. I have considered other comparative cases in order to help me to decide the appropriate amount. Under the Defamation Act of Queensland, the maximum amount of damages for non-economic loss, that is general damages, not including any aggravated damages, is currently $78,500. That amount can only be awarded in the most serious case. In addition, though, in appropriate cases, additional aggravated damages can be awarded, and there is no statutory limit on aggravated damages. Mr. Jobst contended...
Ooh. Really? Wookie? Is that true? Now, is that... Well, I should ask this. Is that just for Queensland, or is that for Australia itself? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know Australian law or anything like that. I don't know. So it's... From what it sounds like, though, and maybe I'm listening wrong, it's... They could have awarded Miss Billy more if they wanted to. Huh. Australia is literally kangaroo court. Oh boy. Where's Wookie when we need him? I'm kidding. I'm sure that he'll pop in when he can. But yeah, that's...
But for a number of reasons, any damages I award should be minimal, or at least reduced, due to two mitigating factors. One of those factors was that he published the so-called retraction video. For the reasons I've already mentioned about that video, I do not consider that it had any mitigatory effect. Rather, publishing the retraction, at the time and in the manner he did, was an aggravating feature of his conduct. He did not publish it in a way that would draw it to the attention of the original audience, but instead essentially hid it from view. And of course, he did not retract any of the imputations against Mr. Mitchell, nor...
Yeah, you should ask Liana or Mitch. I could. Yeah. That's not a bad idea. Yeah. Listen, Liana is... You know what? I can actually ask Liana. Mitch, I have no idea where the hell Mitch is. I don't think anybody knows where Mitch is. Apparently, he made... Did you guys happen... Any one of you who are on Twitter, did you happen to see that he's allegedly... He threatened to sue Eva? Did any of you see that? Because he's a butthead. I'll find it. I'll find the tweet here as we're... Him and Eva were going back and forth. I will see your ass in divorce court. And there's him and Eva. Because Mitch is a butthead. I guess it was like a whole thing that they were doing. Did they... Listen. They are adorable. I don't care if they want to hear it or not. They are. They are too damn cute for their own good. I swear. I'm so happy for them, though, seriously. When I first found out about the both of them getting together, I was so happy. It's about damn time. From what I understand, it's like 4 or 5 years in the making of them getting together. So, sorry, side tangent. I had to show that, so my bad. You're in transit? No, you're fine, Wookie. You're fine. You're good. Hello, Burn. Welcome back.
Apologised to him. The second reason he gave for mitigation of damages was that Mr. Mitchell, he said, has contributed substantially to the harm he has suffered because he put the offending part of Mr. Jobs' video into his response video, saying, quote, "For those of you who haven't seen it, here's the clip," end quote. Mr. Mitchell's video showing that clip has remained online ever since. It has been downloaded at least 155,000 times. As I say in my reasons, this submission might be described as suggesting that Mr. Mitchell called in an airstrike on his own position. I disagree, both by making the response video and by bringing this proceeding.
Burn? Leave Bad Dog alone. And leave his accent alone. Bad Dog has nothing to... Be nice. Bad Dog has nothing to do with this. Bad Dog catching strays. Damn. Leave Bad Dog alone.
Against Mr. Jobst, far from calling in an airstrike on his own position, was necessary for Mr. Mitchell and reasonable for Mr. Mitchell to identify the enemy's position clearly in order to call in an airstrike on it. That is what he has done. He made clear in his response video that he denied the imputations made by Mr. Jobst and that what Mr. Jobst had said was false. His conduct in publishing this video was reasonable and it does not justify any reduction in the amount of damages. Factors particularly relevant in determining the appropriate amount of damages include the number and seriousness of the defamatory imputations, the extent of their publication, the effects they have had on the plaintiff personally and on his reputation, and what is known as the grapevine effect. The grapevine effect is the likelihood that the defamatory imputations have been and will be repeated to other people over time, and they may even surface again after this judgment. The grapevine effect arises particularly...
Okay, this is where a lot of, again, like B-Sam said, a lot of legalese comes into play. I guess legalese is back, but yeah. Oh, you escaped Jar's basement? Okay, good, Burn. Glad to hear you're safe.
In cases of defamatory imputations made on social media or other internet sites, including YouTube. In this case, there is ample evidence of the extent of the grapevine effect. It has been very extensive. The evidence is the number of comments on Mr. Jobs' video and also comments made on another online personality's videos about Mr. Mitchell, which even recently included assertions that Mr. Mitchell had caused or contributed to Apollo Legends' suicide. Coming to the amount of damages that I will award, Mr. Mitchell seeks $400,000 in general damages, that is, damages for non-economic loss, as it is described in the Defamation Act. In my view, that is too high, being too close to the maximum permissible amount. This is not one of the most serious cases, although it is at the higher end, especially...
That's fair. That is very fair. Okay. I like the way that was said. I did. All right.
Given the most damaging imputation that Mr. Mitchell hounded Apollo Legend to death and the extent of publication. Mr. Mitchell's aggravating conduct has been serious and ongoing, including in his evidence at trial and in his publications about this litigation. It merits substantial aggravated damages, and Mr. Mitchell asked for $50,000 in aggravated damages. I have concluded that there should be judgment for Mr. Mitchell in the sum of $300,000 for non-economic loss and $50,000 in aggravated damages. As I say in my reasons, he may well have been justified in being ordered to pay more than $50,000 in aggravated damages, but that is the amount sought by Mr. Mitchell, and that is the amount...
Burn? Shut the hell up!
...amount I shall award. In addition, Mr. Jobst should pay interest on those amounts. Unless I receive submissions for some other order as to interest, it seems to me, from other cases, that the appropriate rate and period of interest will be 3% per annum from the first date of publication to today. That amounts to a total of $40,446.58. Finally, ordinarily an unsuccessful party is ordered to pay the successful party's costs of the proceeding. At present, I see no reason why I should not make such an order against Mr. Jobst. However, I shall give the parties an opportunity to seek an alternative costs order, either now or by written submissions to be provided.
Hold on, Chat. Give me 1 second. Okay, Chat. Sorry.
Provided within 14 days, but preferably now. The judgment of the court is therefore 1. Judgment for the plaintiff for damages for non-economic loss in the sum of $300,000 plus interest, subject to either party seeking a different order as to interest upon delivery of this judgment or by filing and serving a written submission within 14 days, of $34,668.50. Judgment also for aggravated damages in the sum of $50,000 plus interest of $5,778.08, subject to either party seeking a different order as to interest upon delivery of this judgment or by filing and serving a written submission within 14 days. 2. Unless either party seeks a different order as to costs, either upon delivery of this judgment or by filing and serving a written submission within 14 days, the defendant pay the plaintiff's cost of this proceeding. I published my reasons together with a short summary of those reasons. Both documents will be publicly available shortly on the Queensland Court's website. Are there any submissions on questions of interest and cost?
Okay. Well, there you go. All right, later check out to fulfill my own stream commitments. Okay. Good night, B-Sums. Thanks for coming by. I appreciate it. Well, there you go, chat. There you go. To be fair, Queensland sucks. Well, listen. You obviously know more than we do, Wookie, when it comes to that. So I'll take your word for it, or I'll take your opinion for it. But again, I really truthfully think that was fair. I do. In this case, that was fair. So now, oh my God, Mr. Huck is driving me nuts. All right, so now we are going to move on. Thanks to Zaint, because he is awesome that way. We're going to move on to Billy's actual response. Now, chat, this was dated, it was longer than 3 years from the looks of it. Yeah, Jobst tried pulling the classic Rakita maneuver and it backfired spectacularly. Well, for now, it seems to have. Now, again, anyone and everybody that has been following this is going to wait for Karl's response and or if Billy comes out with another response. I don't know if he will or not. Right? But you have not been shunned. Stop it. Oh, you are driving me crazy. Stop. Yes, Mr. Huck is alive. Yes. He has not been shunned. Don't listen to him, please. Wasn't Billy Mitchell in Pixels? Was he? I don't know. Was it? Well, the movie was about him to a degree, wasn't it? Or about his story. I don't remember him being in the movie, but I could be wrong though. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie, to be honest with you. I'd have to go back and watch it.